He started with umbrellas. Might sound ridiculous, but for Oswald Cobblepot, nothing started as it seemed. His entire reputation was built on never letting anyone see the true angles behind his schemes. A regular night in Gotham City, rain pouring, shadow-stretching, Cobblepot stared out from the upper floor of the Iceberg Lounge, surveying the chaos below. Villains, mobsters, politicians, everyone wanted a piece of his hospitality. But he wasn't just a club owner. This was the epicenter of the city's criminal underworld. Oswald was never the largest, never the strongest, but he knew how to make people talk. More importantly, he knew how to make people afraid. He understood the city in a way no one else could. Its hunger for violence and for control. It was never enough to just take, not in Gotham. You had to build something, brick by brick, until the city owed you everything. If you moved too fast, Batman would catch you. Too slow, and the Falcone family would carve you up before sunrise. All his life, Cobblepot was called the Penguin. An insult to the long nose and squat frame he inherited from a family that defallen into ruin. But Oswald knew the power in owning your own joke. By embracing the name, he turned it into legend. He laid traps in every shadow of the Iceberg Lounge, a bribe here, an insurance policy there, always out of sight. He began recruiting ex-cops who had fallen from grace, and soon the city's dirtiest detectives were dancing to his tune, passing him information before it even hit the police radio. He started with minor rackets protection schemes, high-stakes gambling, some smuggling of rare and valuable objects, kept everything polished and professional, at least on the surface. The club grew, people came. The city got used to the idea that the Penguin could get you anything, as long as you paid the price. When gangs warred in the Narrows or Blackgate saw a riot, Oswald stayed out of the crossfire, letting his competitors exhaust themselves. He only struck when the odds were on his side. Soon, he moved into arms dealing, the real money. Gotham was always in the market for guns, new ones, old ones, the kind that could knock down a wall or silence a witness. Oswald made contacts across the Atlantic, shipping crates through smuggler tunnels under the city, sometimes even hiding weapons inside his precious umbrella collection. It was an open secret. If you wanted firepower, you went to the Penguin. And if you were foolish enough to double-cross him, his enforcers, men and women, who owed everything to him, would make sure your debts were paid in full. But Cobblepot understood that no empire could run on brute force alone. He turned to the political machine, working how favors were owed, understanding which votes could be swayed, and which judges would look the other way. Soon, politicians with too many secrets owed their careers to the Penguin. And city contracts began passing through companies managed quietly by his shell corporations. Oswald had learned long ago that blackmail lasted longer than any muscle. Every empire needs an enforcer, and the Penguin chose his carefully. Never the most flamboyant thugs, never the unstable. Just the loyal, the desperate, the ones who knew they couldn't survive in Gotham without him. It was these soldiers who kept rivals at bay, discouraged outside interference, and always reminded the streets that the Penguin's reach could strangle anyone at any time. Of course, there was the Batman problem, never predictable, always watching. Oswald learned early to keep his hands clean, ever directly involved in any murder. Always quick to provide an alibi, sometimes even helping police track down reckless upstarts, just to keep the bat off his own back. His files were full of dirt on every criminal in Gotham. It paid to share, just enough at the right times. The years rolled by. The Iceberg Lounge was no longer just a nightclub. It was a fortress. Steel doors, bulletproof glass, panic rooms lined with millions in diamonds and cash. All along the walls hung umbrellas of every kind, each hiding a custom weapon or a secret key to some vault. If an enemy came for him, he could vanish in seconds, or so the rumor went. But it was never enough to just endure in Gotham. Oswald expanded, feeding money into tech startups and experimental research, always keeping an eye on whatever the Wayne family was building. He bought controlling interests in shipping companies, hotels, trucking firms, seeing things to build a web of influence. Any part of the city that could move goods, launder money, sway power, eventually found itself tied inextricably to the Penguin's hands. Still, the Penguin knew empires were fragile. He always planned his escapes, set double blinds, cultivated backup identities. For every apparent defeat in the newspapers, he spun another 5 plots. No one could ever be certain what part of the iceberg they were truly seeing. He built his empire on secrets and survival. 1 step ahead of Batman, 2 steps ahead of his rivals, and 3 steps ahead of the law. The Penguin outlasted everyone because, in Gotham, the smartest animal always survived, no matter what name the city gave him.